you definitely want to have safety glasses on when you're doing this. Good day, everybody. Mike here, Northeastern Dirt and Property Maintenance. I got a little issue, a few issues. Not too many, but this is one issue. A deer browse issue. I got some of my deer cages out already. And these things cut like shit. Oh, that's better. That's better. I know, because I've had this wire in my life whip back and stab me in the head. I've been stabbed in the skull, scratched in the face, so you got to be real careful when this wire snaps back to its formed memory position there, because it takes off. But anyway, as you can see, we picked up a little bit of snow up here, a couple inches of snow, and I've already went a couple rounds in the township with a sanding truck. No plowing yet. Be kind of nice if everything freezes a little bit first so we don't make a mess of these roads if I got to drop that plow. But anyway, sanded a couple times yesterday, day before, and now I'm getting my deer cages out. I'm a little behind, so when I came out this morning with my coffee, I seen that the deer had browsed a little bit off my apple trees. So all I do, especially the smaller trees I put in this year, well, I want them all protected, but those little ones are really vulnerable. I mean, it's their first year in the ground here, so that's all I do, cut the cages of the fencing like that, and then you'll see when we go up there. I don't mind the deer coming up at all, really. You just, you got to work with the deer here, that's all. Don't work against them, man. Kind of just work with them and attempt to outsmart them. And animals are pretty smart sometimes, so. And actually, yesterday, for the first time up here, and what a sight it was early in the morning. I was out early in the morning, back in here, coming down the mountaintop with a sanding truck. And if a pack of wolves on the snow didn't come across the road, I thought, pretty neat. The first one came out, mind you, a small pack, only 3 wolves, but the first one come out, looked at me in the plow truck, took off across the road. The second one come flying out, he jumped across the road, and then the third one come out. So they're pushing deer up here hard too. And they're not small wolves either, man. They're pretty tall, lanky, long wolves. So that was the first time I seen a small wolf pack. I seen a lot of tracks on the road in the snow when I was sanding, but I didn't think I'd be fortunate enough to actually see the 3 wolves come across the road, and I did. So I knocked on the neighbor's door up there and let her know, because she's got 3 small dogs up there, smaller dogs. And I told her to keep an eye on her dogs a little bit, because those wolves were coming right through the edge of her property there. And you just got to be careful. Hey, wolves, coyotes, it don't matter. When wintertime comes, even summertime, if they're hungry, they got no problem taking on a dog. Especially 3 of them. So that was the excitement for yesterday, and quite a view it was. Alright, so we got 3 of them cut right there, and we'll go over there and we'll set them out. So if I have a look, you can see last night they came in here, and they were just walking through this area right here, where the fruit trees are. You can see right there. They came through. And you can see what they do. All right, so have a little look here. Right there. They browse the tips. You can see the tip of that's browsed off. And they go around to browse the end of all these apple buds and all that. Not a huge deal right now, but you wouldn't want to let it go. Oh, and I see broken branches there. So this guy right here being a young cherry tree right here, and that's his first year in there. And I won't do anything with this tree. I won't even trim this tree up this year at all, because he's a young tree. I'll just let him go his first year. I'll cage him this winter, try and protect him the best you can. And if you can get fruit trees going up here in northeast Ontario and get them going good, producing fruit like that apple tree did this year with 54 apples on it, you're doing pretty good. So you want to take care of them to the best of your ability anyway, because they're super expensive up here. And there's a couple things you got to be aware of, that I have to be aware of when I'm putting these fences around these little trees. You want to try not to allow the fence to rub on the young branches like this, the guard. You don't want that tree guard wiggling in the wind all winter, this tree, and rubbing right through the tender bark of these fruit trees. So you try not to let that happen. You may get it a little more on some of these established trees, like this apple tree right here that got broke off by a moose. Well, he's turning into a bush, but I still don't want him rubbing on the wire, so just got to make your cages a little bit bigger. But there's also something else that we have to be really aware of too with the cages on the tree. It's where I cut the wire with the bolt cutters and around the bottom of the tree, because some of these are well-used cages. And if you look on the bottom, they're very rough. They got a lot of wires pointing here and there. We got to be real careful that we stick the wires toward the inside of the cage, the cutoffs, because that little dog comes around and he pisses on these cages sometimes, sniffing around in the winter. And as he's getting older, I don't want him running into one of those wires. And I really don't want a deer at nighttime or something running into a wire that's sticking out either. So I try my best to keep the wires pointing inward, because we don't want something poking its eye out. And I only bend about 3 wires on this. I don't bend every one of these cutoffs. Absolutely no need. So I bend about 3 of them to the inside. That's it. And as you can see, a lot of my wire cutoffs are pointing to the inside, so if a deer or the dog does come along, we get no eye pokage anyway. So anyway, that's all I'm up to right now, and I'm going to grab those other cages. All right, so about the last step I do when I do this is I put a little bit of flagging tape around each one of these cages. And the only reason I do that is sometimes these cages, as the snow gets deeper, they kind of blend in with the snow a little bit. And I just like the tape to be fluttering around in the wind a little bit and all that, so the deer can see these cages. They are a little difficult to see sometimes. So I put about 4 pieces of flagging tape on each one, because let me tell you, this winter when the wolves move in here, these deer are running. They're scattering, and they got to scatter quickly. So when they're running, I want them to see this flagging tape on top, because we get a lot of wolves here, and they're really pushing these deer in the winter time. So as they're running, I don't want them to run into these cages. So that's why I put flagging tape on them. I don't know how much of a difference it's going to make, but for the cost of the flagging tape and putting it on there, I'm sure it can't harm. And that's it. That's what I do for these trees. And that's it. Next step on these fruit trees will be springtime. You remove the cages and you prune up these older trees, get them shaped the way you want, and that's it. So thanks for tuning in, you guys. That's all I'm up to today. I see these deer had come in last night in the snow. They broke a few branches, they browsed, nothing too heavy, but I don't want to give them a chance to get right in. Yes, they can reach over the fence with their neck and head and browse these outer buds, but you know what? These fences with the flagging tape, they do drastically cut down on the amount of browse on the trees, so that's why I put it on there. Okay, thanks for tuning in. I'll talk to you later.